Well, it's time to look ahead at the new comic books coming out this week. Let's see what's on the pull list. Welcome back to Comics Are Dope. I'm BJ Kicks, and this is the pull list. It's my weekly video where I take a look at all the books coming out. I'm going to tell you which books are on my pull list, what's on the chopping block, if anything, and I'll also let you know about some new number ones that are on the radar for this week's new comic book day, and that is Wednesday, July 10th, 2024. In case you didn't know, by the way, DC is back to releasing their books on Wednesdays, so everybody across the board, Wednesday, July 10th. Cool stuff. Now, I always like to start these lists off with the book I am most excited for. Before I do that, though, just wanted to remind you guys that the conversation doesn't have to stop here on YouTube. We actually have a community where you can talk about comics all the time. You can do that by joining us on Discord or on Facebook. The links to both communities are in the description down below, and we would love to have you. Now, let's talk about the book I am most excited about this week. And, man, this book's been hyped up quite a bit. This is Action Comics issue 1067. This is an issue written by Gail Simone with art by Eddie Barrows. Now, Gail has been showing like teasers of art from this series for like a couple of months now. And this is a part of the Superman All-Stars or Superman Superstars initiative that started before the House of Brainiac, where we're getting sort of superstar writers and artists teams for 3-issue arcs a piece. And so the first one, it started off with, who was it? Jason Aaron did the first 3-issue arc. Then we had the House of Brainiac crossover. And now we're back in the Superman Superstars program. And Gail Simone and Eddie Barrows are doing a story with Superman with the Black Shield, which is really cool. Superman and the Challenge from the Stars. Superman fights for 2 worlds. When a massively powerful alien race makes Earth their arena, Superman must stand alone against impossible challenges that threaten locations all around the world and the lives of those he loves. Like I said, 3-part story. There's also a backup featuring Lois Lane, written by Rainbow Rowell, who I believe just finished writing a She-Hulk run. So cool stuff there all the way around. I'm just excited because, I don't know, since I got into comics, Gail Simone's been pretty quiet on the superhero side. So this will be my first time actually reading a Gail Simone comic. And quite honestly, I've read like some of her previous Batgirl work and a little bit of her Wonder Woman work, and I liked all that, but I've never seen her on like Superman. So this will be fun. Action Comics 1067. Cover price on this is $4.99. I'm grabbing cover A. I should mention this is going to like be, I wouldn't say out of continuity necessarily, but this is not going to be tied into Absolute Power and all that stuff, which is another reason to be excited about it if you're not reading that, or if you are and you just want to change a pace. Next up, since we're talking about DC Comics, Batman and Robin issue 11 is on the pull list this week. This is written by Joshua Williamson with art by Juan Ferreira, if I'm not mistaken. I told you guys last month that I was probably going to drop Batman and Robin unless there was some compelling reason for me to grab it. And turns out that compelling reason is the fact that Joshua Williamson is leaving this title at issue 13. And so who am I to turn down a chance to have a complete Joshua Williamson run of Batman and Robin? Well, actually of Damian Wayne Robin through like the Robin series, through all the Shadow War stuff, Lazarus Planet, and now this nice little Robin by Joshua Williamson collection sitting in my short boxes. So I'm going to be buying this at least through issue 13 to complete my run. And then I'll drop Batman and Robin because I haven't read an issue since issue 4. Anyway, Batman and Robin. Cover price on issue 11 is $4.99. I'm grabbing cover A. Next up is Green Lantern issue number 13. Green Lantern written by Jeremy Adams. Art, I believe, by Thermonico, who's been doing art for this entire series with a couple of breaks. Nope, this time Harmonico's not on it. It is going to be Fernando Persarin, who I believe he's done work on this title before. Anyway, this one's an absolute power tie-in. I told you guys that issue 12 was going to determine my feelings about Hal Jordan. And I got to say, the way issue 12 ended was kind of exactly the way I predicted it would end in a pull list video a month ago. And so I'm still kind of like, yeah, I don't know about this Hal Jordan guy, but this book has been super, super fun. And whether or not, I feel like I'm on Hal Jordan's side morally all the time, this book is action packed. It's clear that he's motivated to sort of fight for his team, and he's not acting as selfishly as we might expect someone with his disposition generally to act. So I've been enjoying the book. How's it going to tie into absolute power? Somebody tried to kidnap him in the last issue, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll see. I don't want to spoil absolute power for you guys, but if you're not reading it, read it. Last week's absolute power #1, Dan Mora, Alejandro Sanchez on those colors. Amazing. It's not time to talk about that book though. Green Lantern issue 13 is an absolute power tie-in, so you will want to grab absolute power #1 from last week before jumping into this. Cover price on it is $4.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And that's it. Just those 3 books on the DC Comics pull list for me this week, which brings my total up to $15 from DC. Now, let's move over to the House of Ideas. Over at Marvel Comics, there are 2 books on the pull list. The first of which is The Ultimates, issue #2, written by Dennis Camp with art by Juan Frigeri. This book is awesome. I really liked the Ultimates preview that we got for Free Comic Book Day, which, by the way, I want to say they are releasing, they're calling it Marvel issue 0 or something like that. And it's just a repackage of that Free Comic Book Day book in a couple of weeks, in case you missed out. But you'll get that teaser from the Gail Simone XMen and the teaser from the Ultimates. So cool stuff coming out there. But the Ultimates, basically, Tony Stark's son, whose name might also be Tony Stark. I can't remember Tony Stark's son's name, but the point is he is running around as Iron Lad trying to assemble a new team of Avengers. They're calling them the Ultimates. They are trying to sort of remake heroes from the 616 and use them as a blueprint to take down the Maker, and they've got a limited amount of time to do so. I really, really like the way this has been set up. And I love the appearance from a classic Marvel character in the last issue. And I won't spoil it in case you didn't read Ultimates #1. What are you waiting for? It's a great book. Go grab issue 1, which just probably has a second printing coming out this week. And then grab issue #2. And then you'll be caught up because it's great. Ultimates cover price on issue #2 is $4.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And the next book and last book on the Marvel pull list this week is a brand new #1, a series debut. This is the XMen issue #1, written by Jed McKay with art by Ryan Stegman. This is the first glimpse into the From the Ashes era. We've got adjectiveless X-Men. Later on, we're going to get Uncanny X-Men by Gail Simone. After that, we're going to get Exceptional X-Men by Eve Ewing. And then we got a slurry, a bevy of other titles. Now, in case you missed out, last week they did this little From the Ashes preview. So you get quick preview, art, and some story from a bit of all of the From the Ashes titles. After reading this teaser preview and the interviews associated with it, I gotta say I'm still most excited about Gail Simone's X-Men, but the big draw for this Jed McKay X-Men is the fact that it is drawn by Ryan Stegman and Cyclops as team leader. I like Cyclops as team lead, but if I had to just choose a book based on the team alone, Gail Simone's got the edge. See if I can pull up the page. All right, so the X-Men team by Jed McKay is Cyclops, Beast, Psylocke, Magic, Juggernaut, Kid Omega, Temper, and Magneto. Interesting stuff. I'm curious to see what role Magneto is playing in all this. But the team for Uncanny X-Men is about half the size. It's Wolverine, Rogue, Gambit, Jubilee, and Nightcrawler. So that's dope for me. I feel like All I really want on that team, besides the people named, is Storm and maybe Cyclops, but we're getting them in other books, and Storm's about to be on the Avengers. So cool stuff. Looks like Exceptional X-Men is going to be like the sort of New Mutants of the group. And honestly, is the team I'm probably least interested in on its face. But X-Force, NYX, X-Factor, lots of stuff going on. X-Men From the Ashes starts now with Adjectiveless X-Men issue number 1. Again, written by Jed McKay, who's basically running the Marvel Universe right now. I wouldn't skip a Jed McKay book at this point. And art by Ryan Stegman. By the way, I'm grabbing the cover A by Ryan Stegman for a cover price of $5.99. And that's it for the Marvel books on the pull list. Cover price on those is going to bring me up to $11 this week. And now let's skip on over to the indies, where there are quite a few books on the pull list. First of which is Aint No Grave, issue number 3, written by Scotty Young with art by Jorge Corona, who we'll reference later on in this episode. But Aint No Grave is basically a Western. This woman, writer, finds out that she's going to die. She's got a diagnosis and she doesn't agree with that diagnosis. And to fix her problem, she is going on a sort of classic Western lone vigilante type deal to make a deal with death himself or herself. As she's trying to make her way to death to sort of bargain for her life, she's coming up against all sorts of opposition. She's a wanted woman based on her former life as an outlaw. And, you know, she's trying to get home to her kid and enjoy her family. And so if you're standing in her way, listen, it's you or her, and it's not going to be her. I've really enjoyed it through 2 issues. It's definitely mature readers only. It's definitely got some language, definitely got some gore. A lot of people getting shot in upper extremities, right? Like that is a thing in this book. So if you're squeamish, maybe not. I mean, it's not like Tarantino gory because it is Jorge Corona and it's kind of cartoonish. But the point is, it is a more mature book. I wouldn't give it to your kid. But anyway, Aint No Grave, issue 3. I'm enjoying it. Just straight up Western, shoot 'em up, bang, bang. Cover price on it is $3.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And next up on the indie list is Moon Man, issue number 3, written by Kyle Higgins and Scott Mescudi, with art. Who's on art? Alex Lenz, if I'm not mistaken. It's not Alex Lenz. It's Marco Licati, who reminds me of Alex Lenz. But anyway, this book, quite honestly, I forgot what happened in issue 2. I feel like the schedule on this book is just not working for me. Oh, yeah. April 17th is when the last issue came out. It's July. No wonder. It's been like 3 months. Why is this book coming out quarterly? May, June, July. That's 3 months ago. No wonder I don't remember what happened in issue 2. Anyway, issue 3 is out this week. And I don't remember issue 2 being groundbreaking. But I got to read issue 2 to decide if I'm going to read issue 3. This could honestly be a chopping block book, but $3.99 is cover price. I'm grabbing cover A because I already pre-ordered it. Next up is a book that you should be excited for even after I tell you the cover price. This is the TMNT, or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, 40th Anniversary Comics Celebration. It's a one-shot. It's a $12 one-shot. Let's just not bury the lead. But what this book is a celebration of the 40th anniversary of the Turtles with stories and art to reflect every iteration of the Turtles that you have ever seen. From the Mirage Studios days to the Archie Comics days to the Saturday morning adventures that are happening, you know, in comics now, to the animated series, to the actual movie universe, to the 2003 animated series. Like, if you have ever enjoyed Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you're going to enjoy at least one story in this book. If you have always enjoyed Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you're going to enjoy every bit of this book. IDW did let me preview issue 1, or this issue. And you guys know I'm not a big fan of these oversized anthologies hogging up all of the resources from the pull list. It is worth every bit of the $12. It is really good. And maybe it's just because I'm a turtle head. Turtlehead is a strong way to put that. Because I have such nostalgia for the Turtles, and because this touched on Turtles in iterations that I had actually been super familiar with from like my childhood and other media and stuff, maybe it hit harder for me for that reason. But I really do think if you're a Turtles fan, there is something for you to love about this book. So they did already solicit a hardcover for it. So maybe you go ahead and pre-order that and skip this if you're not a soft cover type of person, but worth every bit of $12. I must say, the TMNT 40th Anniversary Celebration Issue 1. The cover A is by Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird. And I mean, that's enough reason to buy it. I wouldn't judge you if you bought that cover. That is probably the best cover. The cover I pre-ordered was by Joelle Jones. No, it's by Sophie Campbell. And I pre-ordered that one kind of hastily because they were all wearing the red masks and I just like that. But now that I'm sitting, I think I like the cover A better anyway. So we'll see how that goes. The cover price on it again is $11.99. Worth it though. Definitely worth it. Next up is Transformers issue number 10. Transformers written by Daniel Warren Johnson. Art by Jorge Corona, who also is doing art on Aint No Grave. And if you thought you were going to miss Daniel Warren Johnson on art, you're not. Jorge Corona is just as good. It's just as good. It's just as lively. Now, Transformers, I'm still enjoying, but I gotta say the nostalgia is kind of wearing off. And when I say it's wearing off, I never really had nostalgia for the Transformers. And because of that, in every issue, they find a way to like introduce a new Transformer or a new character from this Transformers universe. And I feel like it's harder and harder for me to keep up with who is who. I got Optimus and I got RC, and everybody else, I got to wait for a dialogue box to tell me who they are. What's really keeping me in this book are the human characters, Carly and Spike, both on individual journeys that are really interesting. And I don't want to spoil any of that, but they are, you know, as is pretty normal for the Transformers franchise, they're sort of being drafted into this war. The Autobots versus the Decepticons versus the Constructicons versus the, what was it? I don't remember. Commander bots. Like, there's just been a lot of different types of robots, and I'm getting lost in the robot lore. But the heart of the story is still a very heartfelt story. And that's what's keeping me in it. Like, it's the Daniel Warren Johnson of it all, quite honestly. Transformers issue 10, I'm still enjoying it. Not quite loving it. I'm waiting to see some of these things pay off. Cover price on it is $3.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And that's it. That's the pull list this week. So the indie books, if I stick to the list, are going to cost me $24. Yes, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles book is half of that, but got to do what you got to do. There are so many covers on that book. I ain't even shout out the Kari Randolph variant because it's a 1 in 100 and there's no way I'm buying that given how ratio prices go. But anyway, $24 for the indie books brings me up to a grand total. I'm right at my budget of $50 for this week. Not bad. I'm not mad at it. $50 with a $12 book in there. I'll take that as a win any day of the week. Now let's talk about books that might be on your radar. If I am quite honest, there is nothing that is a new number one that I was like, I might buy that. I'm on the fence about this Absolute Power Task Force 7 issue number 1. Absolute Power is an amazing book. Like Absolute Power number 1, absolutely my pick of the week from last week. Like, it's not even close. I really, really liked this book. And it's really the colors by Alejandro Sanchez that really, really takes this like just over the top. But story's great. The stakes are high. Mark Waid knows what he's doing. Like, anyway, Absolute Power is great. Task Force 7 is supposed to be following like this new evil trinity that I don't want to spoil if you haven't read issue 1. Just know Amanda Waller's got some evil people on her side, and this book is supposed to be telling the story from their point of view. And because it's not Mark Waid and Dan Mora, suddenly I'm like, do I need it though? Like, do I really need it though? Like, for real? And with that, who is the creative team on this? It's Leah Williams with art by Caitlin Yarsky. Not bad creative team at all. I mean, I've seen Leah Williams' work, and I think her work is fine. But this is a 7-issue tie-in series. Do I need 7 issues of a tie-in for a 4-issue book? And if I'm not mistaken, the entire Absolute Power event is going to be 37 issues, including all the tie-ins. I don't mind doing like main series tie-ins. Like, I'm reading Batman, I'm reading Superman anyway. But when we start adding all these little mini series and one shots, suddenly I'm like, I don't know if I want to do all that. So I'm on the fence, but I did want to let you know this book exists. Cover price on it is $3.99. Next up, the only other book on the radar is Star Wars Ahsoka, issue number 1. I kind of checked out of the Star Wars comic universe long ago. There's just too many books, too much lore. I'm someone who enjoyed Star Wars in the films, but I think as far as Star Wars comics, I'm stopping at the Jason Aaron, Greg Pak, Kieran Gillen run. Like, that's going to be it for me. And all this stuff that's coming after, that's been coming out for the last 5-7 years, I'm glad that it exists for you. But the reason I'm excited about this book, or the thing that's got me kind of perked up about this book, is Rodney Barnes is writing it. Rodney Barnes also wrote like a Grand Inquisitor's book last week. So apparently Rodney Barnes is getting a stab at the Star Wars universe, and that's interesting. But again, Star Wars lore just goes too deep for me to invest in single issues. I'll look out for the trade though. Star Wars Ahsoka issue 1 out this week. Cover price is $4.99, and I wouldn't get mad at you for buying that cover A, but in my opinion, the foil variant by Ken Lashley is the way to go. The way those lightsabers are going to gleam in the light because it's a foil cover, it's just going to hit different. It's going to be dope. And that's it. Those are the only other 2 books on the radar this week. Let me know if you grab either of them. But yeah, Action Comics I'm excited about. I'm just curious to see Gail Simone on Superman, quite honestly. After that, I'm probably reading X-Men number 1 out of curiosity, and then The Ultimates number 2, which easily could have got the second spot on the most excited list. Then after that, I'm reading Transformers. The only reason I'm not reading TMNT at the top of the list is because, well, I read it already, but I'm definitely going to turn through it so I can see the art without watermarks and whatnot. Cause, you know, advanced copies have watermarks. Anyway, I'm rambling. Let me know what you're reading. Let me know what you're excited about. I'll see you guys in another video soon. Till then, stay safe, stay awesome, and read something dope today. Peace.